So much so that anyway, I've put forward a paper suggesting how within eco-psychology, or that is the notion that we use nature as the kind of as the counterpoint to mental health, that nature itself is the medicine, that we have to have a kind of better appreciation of mystical experiences. And in a more recent paper, myself and some colleagues, Sam Gandhi, Ros Watts, Robin Carhart-Harris, we just put out in Health Psychology Open, we go even further and say that the potential beneficial effects of psychedelics could be enhanced even more if people did their psilocybin therapy in nature rather than in a clinical context in a hospital or doctor's laboratory or whatever it is. So because we know that psychedelics enhance ecological consciousness, we know that psychedelics enhance mental well-being, but we also know that being in nature by itself enhances well-being and also enhances our connection to nature. So combine these two things together, you've got like a turbo effect, a synergistic effect where people feel more connected with nature and they feel enhanced well-being, and that they will then continue to spend increasingly more time in nature, which will continue to enhance their well-being.
Which is this study here? The potential synergistic effects between psychedelic administration and nature contact for the improvement of mental health. Therapeutic psychedelic administration and contact with nature have been associated with the same psychological mechanisms: decreased rumination and negative affects, enhanced psychological connectedness and mindfulness-related capacities, and heightened states of awe and transcendent experiences, all processes linked to improvements in mental health amongst clinical and healthy populations. Nature-based settings can have inherently psychologically soothing properties which may complement all stages of psychedelic therapy, mainly preparation and integration, whilst potentiating increases in nature-relatedness with associated psychological benefits. Maximizing enhancement of nature-relatedness through therapeutic psychedelic administration may constitute an independent and complementary pathway towards improvements in mental health that can be elicited by psychedelics. Here you'll find the whole study. You'll find the link in the description. The conclusion of the study. Aside from their intrinsically psychologically restorative and soothing qualities, nature-based settings could enhance some aspects of the preparation and integration phases of psychedelic therapy and could, under certain circumstances, be used for psychedelic sessions themselves without any neglect of vital safety concerns regarding safeguarding vulnerable people under the influence of psychedelics. Such settings have the potential to reduce anxiety and rumination, increase mindfulness, and elicit transcendent experiences and feelings of awe and connectedness. Furthermore, given the numerous demonstrated benefits to mental health associated with increasing nature-relatedness, maximizing its enhancement in combination with psychedelic therapy could constitute an independent and complementary pathway by which psychedelics can lead to improvements in mental health with nature contact, undervalued and heavily underutilized as a health-promoting resource.
Just to sum it up then, so, there's various ways in which psychedelics and ecology can be very nicely fused together. I've talked about these for, the use of psychedelics for enhancing biophilia, the love of nature, changing attitudes, changing behaviors, enhancing well-being, enhancing the environment as well through our behaviors, of course. That there could be potential benefits in psychedelic psychiatry for having psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy attached to eco-psychology and doing it in nature. We also know that there may be potential uses as well beyond just the clinical and the therapeutic for creative problem solving within ecology and ecological design. Imagine, you know, taking the template of our creative problem solving study and applying it to kind of ecological issues or biological or zoological or architectural or agricultural issues, you know, around just our impending ecological crisis or our current ecological crisis. In fact, one of the subjects in our study using LSD with top-level scientists was a PhD biologist from Cambridge called Merlin Sheldrake, who's just put out a new book. And in the first chapter of his book, Entangled Life, he talks about his LSD creative problem-solving experiment.
Entangled Life, How Fungi Make Our Worlds, Change Our Minds and Shape Our Futures. New York Times bestseller.
There are also other potential uses in enhancing interspecies relationships, enhancing interspecies communication. And these are some of the things that we can learn from all the shamanic and indigenous people who've been using these substances for thousands of years and unbroken lineages in some cases, such as the Waradica of Mexico have been working with for the last 10 years. They've been taking psychedelic peyote cactus in that region for at least 5,500 years in a ritual context. So they're probably, you know, one of the oldest indigenous psychedelic tribes on the planet. And there's a lot we can potentially learn from these indigenous psychedelic using tribes in that they've had more than 100 years of practice with them. And so one of the things they do is they feel like they're embedded within nature. You know, they are not apart from nature, they are a part of nature. And they have these, one of the purposes of taking psychedelics is to communicate with the spirits, the beings of nature. And some of the practices they make use of are, it's all about being in harmony with nature, about reciprocity, in that you never just take from nature, you always put back. And we can see how this can also drive down what we call species centricism, the sense that we are, you know, at the top of the food chain, humans are the best, that we are the ones, you know, we are somehow better than all the other species on this planet that we're quickly destroying because we are actually in the biggest wave of mass extinction in 14 million years, the sixth mass extinction, driven mostly by humans.